Hi guys, what's up? My name is David and welcome back to my channel. So by the time this video comes out, I will be just a bit over 3 months here in Sweden. So I would like to talk a bit about my experience, how these past 3 months have been. So for context, if you don't know me, if you're new here, welcome. I'm following a bachelor's program in Scandinavian Studies at the University of Amsterdam in the Netherlands, but I am currently on exchange at Stockholm University. So that is why I have been in Sweden for the past 3 months, and I will be staying here for another 2.5. So yeah, in total I'll be here for almost half a year. So as I've said, I am a student of Scandinavian Studies, and I have a fair understanding and ability to speak the Swedish language. So that does give me an advantage when it comes to being an exchange student because I can communicate with the locals, so to speak. I don't have to do everything in English. Although I have noticed that sometimes when I want to be absolutely sure of some things, I do prefer to communicate in English, especially when it comes to like finance stuff. I want to be sure I understand everything because when you go abroad as a exchange student, you're gonna have to fix some things like, for example, open a bank account if you're staying there for longer, or I don't know, find housing. And sometimes when it comes to those types of things, it is easier to know the language of the country that you're moving to. I mean, Sweden is a country where most people do speak English. I think after the Netherlands, it's like number two of English proficiency in Europe, but I'm not sure, so I'm just gonna put a map here. So yeah, but some information is still only provided in Swedish. So for me, that has not been a problem, like I said, because I do speak Swedish. But it was a bit of a difference compared to back home in the Netherlands, because I guess Dutch society is very like catered towards international people, whether that's international students or expats or refugees or whatever. Most information is always accessible both in Dutch and in English. And even small things like nutritional labels on food generally also are offered in not just Dutch but also English and usually also French and German even too. And that is different here in Sweden. Generally, nutritional labels here have Swedish, Danish, Norwegian, and Finnish, which makes sense. But some products only have Swedish, which, once again, for me personally, that is not a problem because I speak Swedish. But I could see how that might be difficult for someone who doesn't speak the language, especially if you have certain allergies, like you'll have to constantly translate stuff to be sure that you're not buying something that you can't eat. Or even if you just want to make sure what's in it, it might be difficult to know what you're eating. So that's been one of the issues for me too, is, well, although I have studied Swedish at university, you don't really learn these like day-to-day words. Like, yeah, you do learn how to communicate, but most of the education is just basically based on you understanding how the language works and not always how to use the language. You still use the language in very artificial groups. You still use the language with people who are also not native speakers, and you can always like switch back to Dutch if you don't like understand each other and stuff. And actually moving here to Sweden and having to speak Swedish has been very nice for actually practicing my Swedish, because I have to be understandable enough for people to know what I'm saying. And at the beginning, when I came here in January, when I was, for example, going shopping, I still noticed that people switched to English because it's not that I didn't speak the language correctly, it's just that I was very hesitant to say anything, so they just assumed that I would speak it. And once people start speaking English to you, I'm not gonna say like, oh no, I would prefer to speak Swedish. Like, I'm just gonna roll with it, you know? It's not like they care that much. But now I don't remember the last time that I've spoken English to anyone in like a public situation, not counting like friends and stuff. So that's definitely been a nice development. Another thing that's become better and better with the months is the weather. When I came here, there was a big layer of snow, and it was like -15, -16. I mean, I personally like the cold and I like snow, I like winter, but now the sun is starting to shine more and more, and everything is getting greener. Birds are starting to sing every morning. It's just wake me up. But who needs an alarm clock when you have a natural one? Am I right? So I can't wait to experience the full Swedish spring and summer experience. I mean, I'm only going to be here till the beginning of June, so I won't get the entire summer, but at least like a beginning of it. It will be nice. Then another thing that I want to talk about is a lot of difference that I've noticed between Sweden and the Netherlands. I have made an entire video about 10 small culture shocks that I've had, so I could recommend watching that one if you want to. So I'm not gonna go into all of that. Maybe I'll make another one if I get more weird stuff because I have been compiling another list of the things that I've noticed. But the main things are that Sweden has been much cheaper than I previously anticipated, which is nice because I was prepared to spend more money than I currently am. I've been saving a lot because I just was prepared to spend much more, but actually Sweden is way cheaper than the Netherlands. And I mean, I don't really live a lavish life. I don't smoke. I don't really drink that often. I cannot even drink that much here or go out because the age to buy like hard alcohol with a alcohol content above 4.5% is 21, and I'm not even 19. So yay. But yeah, like I said, I don't really drink that much anyway, and I'm not really a party animal, so I don't care. But I know that that is a big source of money problems for other students. So if you are below 21, then move to Sweden and you won't have to worry about spending money on alcohol because you won't be able to. But otherwise, yeah, food has been cheaper here, and there is a lot more variety when it comes to locally produced food. Like, I don't know, but in the Netherlands, when something says produced in the Netherlands, it doesn't really give me a positive vibe in a way. Like, I'm not going to buy it because it's locally produced, because just because it's locally produced does not say anything about the quality. Like, yeah, if I can choose to buy stuff that is grown in the Netherlands for fair trade reasons, for like price reasons, then sure, I would rather buy something local than important. But it's generally not better tasting, it's generally not healthier. Whereas here, there is a much bigger culture of eating the local stuff, much like in my home country of Poland. Everything is just stamped with a big Swedish flag and the text like Swedish product or like made in Sweden, made with Swedish ingredients, stuff like that. And it generally makes me more inclined to buy it, and it's generally cheaper and it also tastes nice. So yeah, and generally just buy locally produced food. It's better for the environment. What I will say about my experience is that it has not only been positive. I mean, I live alone here, and I do have a shared kitchen with about 10 people, and I actually have a subject together with my neighbor, so that's kind of funny. But I don't really have that much social interaction. Most of my courses are online, which means I don't really speak to people. I have only one subject that is in person, but it also doesn't really give me a lot of social possibilities. And one stereotype about Sweden is that people don't really invite you into their social circles, and it's hard to make friends. And I personally have a hard time making friends anywhere, so I have not experienced stuff being worse here. It's just that I have horrible social anxiety. So rationally, I know that the only way to meet new people is to go out and be social. But if I'm scared of going out and being social, here I can just not do it, which makes it even worse. And I am honestly working on that. But yeah, that's something I definitely noticed. And I think now that the weather is becoming nicer and nicer, I will be more inclined to actually go out and do stuff. But generally, when I go out and do stuff, it's either to go shopping, go to the gym, or go be alone in the forest, which honestly is all I need. But I do like to interact with people sometimes. So if you're someone that easily feels lonely, then you need to watch out and have some sort of coping mechanisms to deal with all that. But yeah, overall, these past 3 months have been great. I definitely enjoy living in Sweden more than living in the Netherlands, though I do miss my friends from home, but I will see them again soon, so that's not really a problem. I love the fact that I can look outside and see a beautiful green forest, as I mentioned before, being woken up by birds. There's wildlife around here because I live in the middle of something that's called the Royal National City Park, which is the first national park in a city in the world. So there is a lot of nature around here. And even though I live in the literal capital of Sweden, it's still very peaceful and quiet here, except for the people outside of my window at 1 a.m. in the morning. But student life. So yeah, it's been very nice, and I'm really looking forward to the last 2 months that I will spend here in Sweden. And I also would like to return home at some point, but I will definitely see the time I spent here as a positive experience. And I would say that if anyone ever has the opportunity to go on exchange abroad, do it. Just do it. It's great. It's amazing. You'll have a lot of new experiences, things you would maybe not even imagine doing at home. You'll be pushed out of your comfort zone, and yeah, honestly, it's just great. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about my stay here or living in Sweden in general, going on exchange in general, let me know down below in the comments. And I'll hope you have a nice rest of your day, your week, whatever it is. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye bye.